What happens when one of Hollywood's most beloved actors sits down for a seemingly routine interview, only to be ambushed by a host determined to take him down? Live on air. The tension in the studio was electric the moment Johnny Depp walked onto the View set. What followed left audiences stunned and social media ablaze with reactions. Before we dive into this shocking confrontation, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below with your thoughts on celebrity interviews gone wrong. The morning began like any other. The co-hosts settled into their chairs as cameras rolled. Joy Behar sat with her signature smirk, shuffling through notes with a predatory gleam in her eyes. She had been waiting for this moment, the chance to corner Johnny Depp during what was supposed to be a promotional interview for his latest film. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the incredibly talented Johnny Depp, Whoopi Goldberg announced as the audience erupted in applause. Depp walked out with his usual swagger, dressed in his eclectic style, a small smile playing on his lips as he waved to the cheering crowd. "Johnny, welcome to The View," Whoopi said warmly as he took his seat. "We're so excited to have you here today. Thank you for having me." Depp replied in his soft, distinctive voice. "Always a pleasure to be here with you ladies." But Joy Behar was already leaning forward, eyes narrowed with barely concealed hostility. "Johnny, before we talk about your new project, I think our audience deserves to know the real Johnny Depp. Don't you think?" The co-hosts exchanged uneasy glances. Sunny host shifted uncomfortably, and Sarah Haynes fidgeted with her cards. Even Whoopi seemed caught off guard. "I'm not sure what you mean by that, Joy," Depp responded calmly, though his jaw tightened. "I'm here to discuss my work." Joy laughed harshly. "Oh, come on, Johnny. Your work. Let's be honest about what your work has really been lately. Making headlines for all the wrong reasons. Mistreating people. Our viewers deserve better than the sanitized version you're selling." The studio went silent, save for the hum of cameras. Depp's relaxed posture stiffened. "Joy, I came here in good faith to talk about my film," he said evenly. "If you want to discuss my personal life, perhaps we should do that off camera." No, Joy waved dismissively. "This is exactly where it should be discussed. You've spent years hiding behind your characters. But what about the real Johnny Depp? The one causing pain and controversy?" Whoopi tried to intervene. "Joy, maybe we should—" "No, Whoopi." Joy cut her off sharply. "I've watched this man get praised while real victims suffer in silence. Someone needs to hold him accountable. If it has to be me, so be it." Depp's eyes flashed. "Victims? What victims are you referring to, Joy? You might want to be careful with accusations on live television." "I'll be as careful as I need to be." Joy shot back. "But I won't be silenced by your lawyers, publicists, or fans. The truth needs to come out, and I'm making sure it does." The tension was suffocating. Camera operators leaned in, sensing an explosive moment. The co-hosts looked like deer in headlights, unsure whether to intervene. "Joy," Depp said, his voice dropping to a low, measured tone that felt more threatening than shouting. "I've been nothing but respectful since I walked on this stage. I came here as a guest, and you're treating me like I'm on trial. What exactly is your problem with me?" Joy leaned back, satisfied. "My problem, Johnny, is that you represent everything wrong with Hollywood, the entitlement, the arrogance, the idea that men like you can do whatever they want without consequences. Men like me." Depp raised his eyebrows. "And what kind of man do you think I am? The kind that leaves a trail of broken people in his wake," Joy replied without hesitation, "and then expects the world to feel sorry when it all comes crashing down." The audience was silent, hanging on every word. Some looked shocked, others seemed uncomfortable. But Joy Behar was just getting started. "I've done my research, Johnny," she continued, pulling out a thick folder of papers. "I know about the lawsuits, the allegations, the patterns of behavior that somehow escape accountability. And I'm tired of watching you get standing ovations while real victims are silenced." Depp's composure began to crack, his hands, normally expressive and graceful, clenched into fists on the arms of his chair. "Joy, you're making some very serious accusations here," Depp said, his tone cold but measured. "I hope you have evidence to back up what you're claiming." "Oh, I have evidence." Joy smirked, eyes glinting. "The question is, are you ready to face it?" Depp leaned back, a cold smile spreading across his face. You know what, Joy? I think I am. But before you start reading from your tabloid clippings, let me ask you something. What gives you the right to sit in judgment of me? Joy's eyes gleamed with malicious satisfaction. The right? I have it as a journalist, as a woman, and as someone who cares about justice. Unlike many in this industry who look the other way. A journalist. Depp let out a bitter laugh. Is that what you call this? Because from where I'm sitting, this looks more like a public execution disguised as an interview. Whoopi finally spoke. Okay, everyone, let's just... No, Whoopi. Depp interrupted firmly, never taking his gaze off Joy. Let her continue. I want to hear what this so-called journalist has to say. Please, Joy, enlighten us with your evidence. With theatrical flair, Joy opened her folder. Well, since you asked so nicely, let's start with your pattern of erratic behavior on movie sets, the tardiness, the substance abuse, the verbal mistreatment of crew members. Should I go on? Please do. Depp replied, his voice dripping with sarcasm. But while you read from your little gossip collection, maybe mention the hundreds of crew members who would disagree, those who've worked with me repeatedly, who consider me a friend and colleague. Oh, you mean the ones too afraid to speak out because of your power and influence? Joy shot back. Or the ones who are paid to stay quiet. Depp's playful sarcasm vanished, replaced by a sharp intensity. Joy, you just crossed a line. You're accusing me of intimidating and bribing people. That's not just unprofessional, it's potentially libelous. Truth is a defense against libel, Johnny, Joy replied smugly. And the truth is, you've been getting away with bad behavior for decades because people are too scared or starstruck to call you out. Truth. Depp leaned forward, eyes blazing. You want to talk about truth? The truth is, you don't know me. You don't know my story. You're sitting there with a folder full of gossip and speculation, pretending to be some moral authority. Really, you're just a bitter talk show host getting your kicks from tearing down people you don't understand. The studio fell silent. Even the camera operators stopped, not wanting to miss a single moment of the standoff. Joy's face flushed red, bitter. I'm not the one who spent years fighting lawsuits and losing roles because of my own actions. My own actions. Depp stood abruptly, towering over the panel. Joy, you want to talk about actions? Let's talk about yours. You invited me here under false pretenses, ambushed me on Lev TV, and now you're making accusations without evidence, all while smiling like you're enjoying it. Sit down, Johnny, Joy commanded, her voice wavering slightly. No, I don't think I will. Depp shot back, voice rising. I've sat quietly while you attacked my character, my integrity, my livelihood, but I draw the line at accusations that I've intimidated or bribed people into silence. That's not just wrong, it's disgusting. Sarah Haynes tried to interject. Maybe we should move on to your new film. There is no film discussion. Depp cut her off, eyes still locked on Joy. This was never about promoting anything. This was about you wanting to score points by attacking someone you see as an easy target. Joy stood as well, matching his intensity. Easy target. You think you're the victim here. What about all the real victims whose voices have been silenced by people like you? People like me. Depp's voice shook with rage. What exactly do you mean by that, Joy? Because I'm starting to think this isn't about my alleged behavior at all. This is about something else entirely. Don't you dare turn this around, Joy snarled. This is about accountability, about powerful men thinking they can do whatever they want without consequences. Accountability. Depp laughed harshly. From you. The same woman who's spent years making excuses for politicians and celebrities when it suited your agenda. The same woman who attacked victims when they didn't fit your narrative. You want to lecture me about accountability? Depp's voice thundered across the studio. Joy's face went pale. How dare you? No, how dare you? Depp interrupted, his tone sharper than steel. How dare you sit there in your privileged position and attack someone based on gossip and speculation? How dare you claim to speak for victims while acting like a bully yourself? Whoopi frantically gestured to the producers offstage, but the cameras kept rolling. This was television gold. You're out of line, Johnny. Joy tried, her voice trembling. Out of line. Depp's laugh was cold and bitter. Joy, you haven't seen out of line yet. You want to play this game? Let's play. Let's talk about your track record. Every time you've attacked someone unfairly, spread rumors, ruined lives with reckless accusations. This isn't about me. Joy protested weakly. Oh, but it is. Depp stepped closer, his gaze cutting. Because you made it about character assassination instead of facts. You made it personal instead of professional. And now you're going to live with the consequences of that choice. Tension in the studio reached a breaking point. Security lined the exits. Producers whispered urgently off camera, but Depp wasn't finished. He drew a slow breath, voice eerily calm despite the fire in his eyes. You know what, Joy? I came here expecting a civilized conversation with professional journalists. Instead, I found someone so consumed with self-righteousness. She's forgotten what real journalism looks like. Joy opened her mouth to respond, but Depp raised a hand. No, you've had your turn to grandstand and make accusations. Now it's my turn, and you're going to listen. The co-hosts froze, unsure whether to intervene. Whoopi looked ready to crawl under her desk. Sarah and Sunny exchanged anxious glances. You want to talk about patterns of behavior, Joy? Depp continued, voice gaining strength. Let's examine yours. How many times have you destroyed someone's reputation based on rumors and innuendo? How many lives have you damaged with your self-appointed moral authority? That's not what I do, Joy began, but her voice lacked conviction. Isn't it? Depp's smile was razor sharp. Remember when you spent weeks attacking that young actress, only to quietly apologize months later when the truth came out? Remember the director whose career you destroyed based on a single anonymous source that turned out to be lying? Joy's face drained of color. Those were different situations. Were they? Depp cut in. Or were they examples of you deciding who deserves your protection and who deserves your wrath based on your own biases? From where I'm standing, you pick your victims as carefully as you pick your heroes. The audience was captivated, leaning forward, hands over mouths, cameras capturing every shocked expression. You talk about accountability, Joy. Depp pressed on. But when was the last time you were held accountable for the damage you've caused? When did you face the consequences of your actions? I'm not the one on trial here, Joy said desperately. No, Depp agreed, lowering his voice to a whisper that carried more weight than any shout. But maybe you should be. Maybe someone should examine your track record with the same ruthless scrutiny you apply to others. He began pacing, deliberate and controlled, like a lawyer delivering a closing argument. You sit behind this desk week after week, shielded by your platform, destroying people, ruining careers, damaging families, spreading poison disguised as moral outrage. That's not true, Joy whispered, but her denial sounded hollow even to her. Depp stopped pacing, staring directly at her. Then explain why you chose today to ambush me. Why a promotional interview was your perfect opportunity to try and destroy my reputation. Was it because you thought I wouldn't fight back? That I'd sit there like all your other victims? Joy tried to straighten, but she was visibly shaking. I was doing my job, Depp laughed, harsh and bitter. Your job is to inform and entertain, not prosecute and condemn. To ask questions, not deliver verdicts. Somewhere along the way, you forgot that. You started believing your own press, thinking you were a crusader instead of a talk show host. Silence fell across the studio. Even the crew froze, not daring to miss a single word of this extraordinary confrontation. Let me tell you something about real victims, Joy. Depp continued, his voice now filled with raw emotion, eyes locked on her. Real victims don't need you to speak for them, Depp said, voice calm but cutting. Real victims need justice, support, healing. They don't need a talk show host using their pain as ammunition for her own personal vendettas. I've always supported victims. Joy tried, her voice barely audible. Have you? Depp challenged, stepping closer. Or have you only supported the ones who fit your narrative? I can think of plenty you ignored when their stories didn't serve your agenda. Plenty you attacked who turned out to be victims themselves. Joy shrank into her chair, the fight draining from her face as Depp's words landed. You want to know what I think? Joy, he continued, leaning on the edge of the panel. I think you've become addicted to the rush of moral superiority. You've lost sight of what real justice looks like. You've confused destroying people with protecting them, and you've done it so many times, you don't even realize the damage you've caused. Whoopi began, but Depp held up a hand. No, I'm almost finished. Joy needs to hear this, and your audience needs to hear it too. He turned back to Joy, who stared at her hands. You came after me today expecting an easy target. You thought you could bully me into submission, ruin my reputation, and walk away feeling righteous. His voice dropped to a deadly quiet, almost a whisper that cut through the studio. But you made one critical mistake, Joy. You assumed I was guilty of everything you accused me of. You didn't investigate. You didn't verify. You didn't even give me the courtesy of a fair question. You just attacked, because that's who you've become. Tears welled in Joy's eyes. I was trying to do the right thing. Were you? Depp's voice softened, almost pitying. Or were you trying to boost ratings? Create a viral moment? Prove how fearless and righteous you are by taking down a celebrity? The question hung in the air like a sword. Joy opened her mouth, but no words came. The tragedy here, Joy, Depp continued, is that you could have been a real journalist today. You could have asked meaningful questions about my craft, my career, my projects. You could have informed your audience. Instead, you turned this into a public execution based on gossip and speculation. He straightened, adjusting his jacket with the same casual grace he had when he first walked on stage. But here's the thing about trying to destroy someone without cause, Joy. Sometimes they fight back. Sometimes they refuse to be your victim. And sometimes they expose you for what you really are. The studio was silent. Even the hum of the air conditioning sounded loud. Joy sat motionless, smaller and more defeated than anyone had ever seen her. I came here today in good faith, Depp said, addressing the audience as much as Joy. I came to talk about art, storytelling, the craft I love. Instead, I had to defend my very existence against someone who decided I was guilty before I ever spoke. He walked slowly toward his chair, but did not sit. This is what happens when fairness is abandoned for ratings. When sensationalism is valued over journalism. When destroying people becomes more important than understanding them. Looking directly into the camera, his voice became serious and dignified. To anyone watching who has ever been the target of baseless accusations, who's ever been judged without evidence, without a fair hearing, you don't have to accept it. You don't have to sit quietly while someone destroys your reputation for their own gain. He turned one last time to Joy, who was openly crying. And Joy, I hope, one day, you remember what it feels like to be on the receiving end of your own tactics. I hope you find your way back to real journalism instead of whatever this was supposed to be. With that, Johnny Depp walked off stage, leaving a stunned audience, a devastated host, and a moment of television that would be talked about for years. The cameras continued rolling as Joy Behar sat frozen, the weight of her actions finally catching up, while the co-hosts struggled to figure out how to continue the show. What did you think of this incredible confrontation? Have you ever seen a celebrity fight back so powerfully against an unfair attack? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe for more explosive celebrity moments like this.